Hello and welcome to the Wonky Gamer podcast, episode NES Classic Two Steep. In this episode we will be discussing the gaming news, our thoughts on the death of demos, and our thoughts on the Steep Open Beta. I'm Steph, and here is Ferg.
Hi, I want to get this over and done with so I can have another look at Steep on my machine this week.
Rammy.
Hello.
And Mr. Dead.
Hi.
So, I suppose we better start off with a bit of gaming news. One of the main things we talk about in our very funny punny title, which isn't really that funny, is the NES Classic has been sold out, and there's some dodgy dealings going on Amazon and all over really. So, yeah, the NES Classic was basically a sort of issuing of the original NES, but it's kind of smaller, got like smaller like controllers, which are really not very, like, they don't go very far from the console, so they're not that great in terms of
well, there's a simple way around that: get a longer HDMI cable, because it now has an HDMI socket.
Yeah, no, I know, but the actual controller leads themselves are really short. But
so
anyway,
you can't exactly leave it underneath the television and sit on the other side of the room.
no.
You've got to sit right in front of the television and stare into their glaring light of doom
That's kind of
Exactly.
and
annoying.
their little heads.
But it was really cheap. It was like 50 quid when it first came out. It's got 50 games sort of preloaded on it. It'll never have any more, I don't think. It's like specific
it's not
to
50,
that
it's
console.
30.
Oh, 30?
30?
Yeah.
30 games.
But it's some good games, isn't it? It's Zelda
Like
and Mario.
classics.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
a lot of the sort of classic Nintendo back catalogue are on there.
And it's a really,
They
it would have been a
need
really
to
good
be.
idea for a Christmas present for people, or that kind of thing. I think that's why it's sold out so quickly as well.
Well, I mean,
The horrible introduction to children to console gaming as opposed to introducing them to PCs and learning how computers actually work.
yeah, but if you just want your kids, then they could be young. I know mine are sort of, well, Nate will be 10 on Boxing Day, Lily's 7. And just for
Get them on
an
scratch.
introduction to, look, this is what games used to look like. You don't know you were born, kids. It'd make a nice Christmas present. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
my ex didn't have the forethought of planning to go and pre-order one. And if she'd even asked and said she'd intended this, I could have told her, oh, if you don't pre-order it, you won't get one. So now, your only options
unless, of
are
course-
on eBay or Amazon, where people
For a
that did
grand.
think ahead to pre-order are now going, I can make loads of money on these that people are desperate to get for their kids before Christmas. Excellent.
I think
Ooh,
the target
Amazon's
market
got-
is more like 30 to 40-year-olds for this console. I think it's a lot
Amazon's selling
more,
them at a
Yeah, probably.
I think
yeah.
it's a lot
Amazon's
more
selling a
geared
fair
towards-
whack.
Yeah, Amazon's selling them at like 120 quid for a
Upwards.
console that you
Yeah.
could buy for 50 quid if you pre-ordered.
Or if you even
I mean-
wait.
Well, yeah, wait until they come out. I mean, no doubt Nintendo are trying to fulfill the demand for it, but they
Did they
didn't
know it
think
was going to be
gonna-
this
I
much?
don't think it was going to. Don't think they thought it was going to be this popular.
Which is why I
Yeah.
think they've done a limited run to start off, just to test out how it goes. That way, doing pre-orders only, and then they've gone, oh dear.
Do you
No,
think
I
they'll
mean,
bump up
I-
the
I-
retail price when they realise what they're on to here from 50
No, I
quid
think
upwards?
they've already set the bar. They've said this
Oh,
is
well,
how
in that
much we
case-
say it's worth.
But it does lead on to the idea of a lot of people are saying they'd love to see the Super Nintendo done as a classic mini version.
Now that'll be more, because that's a separate item.
God.
But I mean, I think it was a really good idea. I mean, I wonder whether they planned for it to sell out so more people wanted to buy it when they re-released it anyway.
Create a demand for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
I mean, a
there
lot of
is a
people are going to be
massive
like,
demand.
Or there's a better idea: get everybody onto computers and learn what an emulator is. Just saying.
It's just not as easy though as your kids or
Just
your
plugging it in.
40-year-old going to the tree
They'll
on
learn.
Christmas Day, opening it up and going, "Oh, wicked! Hours of retro fun." And plugging it in.
Back in my day, we
Off
had to
you go.
learn to use uTorrent and all sorts of shit like that.
Oh, whippets.
I never used uTorrent.
On the subject of emulators, it kind of ties into the new stuff coming up later on as well. But apparently, Pokemon Sun and Moon has already been emulated.
Oh, I know why. Because it hasn't got any 3D, has it?
Has
I
it not?
don't know about that.
Pity's sake.
But yeah, it's been out in the rest of the world, everywhere but Europe, for
6 years.
about 20 days,
Uh,
and someone's already apparently emulated it.
God.
Well, it saves you paying for it, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, but yeah,
Bit
no,
dodge though, isn't it? Really?
it's dodgy. It'll
It's
probably
well
be
done.
buggy as hell.
of course it'll be dodgy. It'll be dodgy as all hell. It's not official release, so for dying.
Yeah,
But you know, I mean,
and it'll be
there's a lot of-
by now it will be riddled with viruses.
Oh God, yes. God knows how much spyware's in there. I wouldn't touch that with mine. Or probably not even one of yours.
No, I certainly wouldn't touch it with yours, Ferg.
Oh, thanks, man.
I wouldn't do that to you.
That's mighty fine of you, sir. Loving you lots. Not like that.
Right.
I'll leave that there. Like that.
Dishonored 2. No one's actually got it yet because we're all poor.
Yeah, very. We
I
accept
will.
donations.
I've got to, mind you, sorry, I'm just going to throw this one in there. I've got a fucking job! Yeah!
Yes, big
gonna be-
congratulations to Ferg.
Yeah, I'm finally going to actually get some money in. So, yeah, I will actually get round to reviewing something again in the none too distant future, as opposed to playing horrific amounts of Fallout 4 with all the DLC. But come on, it's Fallout 4. You can go back to there. I'm now logged in excess of 350 hours. I'm quite proud of that. And I haven't even touched the mods yet. I haven't even looked at the modding, the creation kit. I'm so looking forward to it. But yes, a job means money, which means,
Games.
yeah, games and
Stuff.
Well, I'm doing something wrong then, because I've got a job. I still ain't got no monies.
Yeah, that's the other catch that you get is a distinct lack of time.
Yeah, I don't have
Since
time
I'm gonna
or
be
money.
working.
There's something going terribly amiss here.
I think that's part of the problem. I could be starting as early as 6 and ending as early as late as 9
Ooh.
on a night. So, yeah. So, yes.
See, all my money's now going on board games, so I've gained a recent obsession with that.
That's a good obsession to have. I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a bit of an off note. Funny story. I've actually managed to get hold
Hang on,
of
I
my
think there was a
original
knock at my
childhood
door.
board game. Oh,
Sorry.
Pause.
In a sec.
pause.
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 Boss.
Pause. Actually, yeah, I'll just quickly tell you what I was about to say. I've actually just reacquired my childhood board game of Advanced Hero Quest.
Advanced. I think I've still got a copy. No,
I
I
have-
haven't. Oh no.
It is insane. The only thing that's actually missing from it is all the Skaven models.
Yeah, someone's probably butchered it for an army.
Yeah, you say butchered it, but it's got twice as many board pieces in it than it should have. It's like 2 copies of Advanced Hero Quest were thrown together
They bought 2 copies of the game and butchered it
and took
for an
out
army.
half the models and left a bunch of Hero Quest stuff in there.
Yeah. So they wanted
As
a
in,
Skaven
not
army.
advanced, as in the original Hero Quest. Yeah, someone's trying to make an army. Shit! Someone's trying to make a Skaven army. Brilliant! I love it. I totally approve.
There is a Skaven. There are rules for Skaven armies in Warhammer.
Of course there is.
They are a race of their own. They just went for the cheap option instead of buying 2
Yeah, a
boxes
couple of plastic packs. They
that are
actually
40
grabbed
quid a
bunch.
piece to get 10 models. They've got like 40 models for 40 quid a piece. 40.
Yeah, well, to be honest, you only get something like 6 Skaven models in each copy of Advanced Hero Quest, the original board game. So if they've had two boxes worth, they've had 12. That's actually a full unit in Fantasy Battle.
Yeah.
Good on them. Good. I'm glad they've got whoever it was. Well played. I'm so glad that they chose Skaven because they make for a fantastic army. I'm actually half tempted to go looking at the recent Skaven in Warhammer Fantasy, especially after Vermintide. I so enjoyed it.
Sorry, gentlemen.
No, cool. No worries, man. It's all good. This is how it works. Rammy, just so you know, what I've basically just told them, in short, is I've just found my childhood copy of Advanced Hero Quest.
Oh, nice.
It was actually, just so you guys know, it was actually sat up in a friend's grandfather's loft. Sadly, his grandfather has passed away, and he was a lovely, lovely bloke. But they've been clearing out the attic space, and they actually happened upon it. And the darndest thing is, most of the miniatures in there were my original ones. I can tell because the paintwork on it is shit. The paintwork on the miniatures are absolute gash. There's even a very old Grenadier model sorcerer in there. As in Grenadier models from way back where maybe I'm just being a bit old here, but it was actually all in there. It was marvelous. I'm actually having to try and source a PDF of the rules because it doesn't look like the rule book survived. But otherwise, yes, it was absolutely brilliant stuff. That board game changed the way I looked at games as a whole. All games ceased to be snake and ladders. It wasn't just about how well you rolled the dice, which is pure chance and race to the end of the board. Nope. Now players didn't have to compete; they could cooperate, and that was everything.
Yeah,
Changed everything for me.
I had the regular Hero Quest and Space Crusade as well.
A big weekend of gaming. My mates from Sheffield came over, and we played another couple of games of our Risk Legacy campaign, which is just so awesome.
So, Watch Dogs 2, that's come out. They've had a few.
No one's played it yet.
I haven't played it, but I've heard about a few issues that Rammy mentioned to me about the multiplayer being turned off.
They turned off the multiplayer because there were bugs with it, and a lot of people have been really excited about getting straight into the multiplayer, and of course it's been delayed. I don't know whether it's since been patched and released, because Watch Dogs only came out on the 15th. I know it definitely wasn't multiplayer ready on the 15th though.
You know what? That's actually a bit of a disappointment, but it also comes a kind of glad tidings for me, because if I'm going to go ahead and get this game, I want to know that all the multiplayer options are actually there.
Yeah, gives you a bit of time.
If you know what I mean. I can't afford the game now. If I'm going to go ahead and buy this one, since I wasn't really taken with the first one, I just couldn't get into it for some reason, and I really wanted to. But this one, I've kind of got higher hopes for.
Yeah,
I'm really willing to go back to this.
I quite enjoyed the first one. It was kind of Assassin's Creed meets Grand Theft Auto. So yeah, no, it was. I quite enjoyed it, but I didn't go into it expecting full-on C++ hacking that everyone else was expecting. I was already expecting
arcade hacking.
Yeah,
it's one-button hacking.
It's not a hacking simulation.
No, it's an adventure game that is based around hacking.
Yeah.
So
it's essentially a sandbox game with mini games stashed all over the place.
Yeah, I mean,
to the theme.
I thoroughly enjoyed some of the mini games for the in-game phone, and I'm still hold to the fact that I think that Spider Tank should be a game in its own right.
It was that fun.
It was brilliant. A big mechanical tank, and your mission is to just cause havoc. But I could see an application for that, like a Ghost in the Shell style game where you've got a big spider tank and you can get in and out of it and run around like an Assassin's Creed game or Watch Dogs.
Isn't that Titanfall
interesting.
with a spider tank?
In fact, yeah, Titanfall with a spider, that would be awesome.
I'll be honest with you, I am completely uninterested in Watch Dogs 2.
Ah,
Fair enough.
Okay.
Completely uninterested.
what's put you off it?
There's only one open world game of that type in terms of, you know, kind of with first person, not first, but third person shooting mechanics and stuff. Like, I'm not going to include any Bethesda games in this point,
Yeah.
because I think they're quite different. But Rockstar are the only people that have made a game that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, there's the odd Assassin's Creed that's been okay, but in my opinion, like, the story in most of these games is absolutely shocking, and that's why I would play them. So it's like, even Just Cause 2, which has some amazing like mechanics and stuff and is really fun to play, like gameplay wise, like, for me, like, story is really important, and Watch Dogs 2, to me, like, it seems like more of the same gimmick, but they're trying to make it a bit cooler, and I'm just not that interested in it. I'd rather have something with like a solid story than, like, to me it comes across as it's basically quite superficial in the sense it's trying to kind of look cool.
Well, it's interesting, Steph, that you're mentioning about story specifically for Watch Dogs 2 and Ubisoft, because they're turning around and saying, oh, we don't want to lead players by the story anymore. They're wanting to step back from that more and, I guess, rely more on emerging gameplay and
Ubisoft
multiplayer
from now on.
So does that mean that they're basically going to start aiming towards MOBAs then?
No, probably multiplayer.
Just
multiplayer games,
which is a shame.
So Ubisoft are just going to base. Oh, in that case, what are they worried about? They haven't had to worry about it before. They've been doing Tom Clancy for 1 billion years.
Well, yeah,
I don't think
the statement that we're moving away from story-based games is just like, well, what about all those people that aren't all that interested in running around and stabbing each other?
Or
Yeah,
just simply
where'd the single player go?
Thing is, I'm not that interested in tactile.
You're not bringing that up again, are you, Rammy?
But
I'm telling you.
I'm not really interested in tactile multiplayer. Like, they did it with Mass Effect, they've done it with Assassin's Creed and things. Like,
yeah,
I'm not interested in it. Like, because it's always like the type of multiplayer that they've invested a bit of time in and resources. Like, people play it for like 3 hours, then will never touch it again. Like, it's just a bit stupid.
Well,
like,
it's daft because the whole genre is, well, third-person action adventure, and they're effectively saying, yeah, people don't want to adventure anymore. They just want action.
So does that mean that all of the stuff that we're going to see is basically more Tom Clancy then? Is that all they're going to be concentrating on, where they can do more of the Division, where they're let's be perfectly honest, there isn't a story there. It's just murder everybody, everywhere.
No, I get the impression that, say, their existing franchise, Watch Dogs 2, the next iteration of it, Watch Dogs 3, won't really have that much of a story, but you'll still be able to do all the, I guess, bits.
A giant sandbox.
Like, yeah, it's just going.
It's a Mamorpica.
Create your own fun, and I think there's just too much relying on sandbox games. There are other game types out there. We don't just have to play in a sandbox.
but I mean, you see this with Rockstar as well, right? Like, I mean, Rockstar are making shitloads of money off GTA Online. A lot of people like that kind of online sandboxy stuff. It's true, like, but personally, the best thing Rockstar did with GTA for me was the single player. That's why I bought it. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people want to just, like, you know, have that sandboxy world. I can understand that. Like, I can understand it. I mean, for me, it's too limited because it's always like 32 players on a map or something. Like, it's not really. If I wanted to play a massively open world sandbox game, I'd want to play with like a whole server full of people. And when I say server, I mean like MMO level. Really.
Are you talking Final Fantasy 15?
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
But you would prefer to, as opposed to play Watch Dogs 2, you'd rather be hitting Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, what, in terms of a single player game? Yeah, but in terms of a multiplayer game, no. Like, I absolutely hate Final Fantasy 14 and is it 11?
Because you didn't like the stories, or because you didn't like the engine, or you didn't like the characters?
No, because they were MMOs. Like,
and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I
You
just
prefer a more intimate adventure, a purely solo player game.
Well, Final Fantasy's always been, up until then, about the story, these great epic worlds and situations, and it's always been focused on that.
Yeah.
And never been about meeting up with your friends and doing anything kind of social.
No.
But I can do that by playing...
Are you saying that Final Fantasy shouldn't go for the
MMO
MMO
do what
angle?
they think's best, but I think, like, I mean, again, like, it's all about personal taste. If I want to play an online game about gameplay, yeah, like, I'll do it competitively, and that means I have to invest it all in one game. Like a lot of people will just hammer the crap out of Overwatch or League or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need any more games to, like, min-max and spend loads of time on. Like, I've already got one. Like, I don't have the time for it.
Well, the other
It's that
side,
personal investment, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't be bothered to learn a whole new
This is
game.
the reason why I want to see more single-player games, or at least single-player games that have a co-op element, so your friends can play together.
That I like the idea of.
Yeah, and I want to see more of the single-player gaming turning up, because at the end of the day, that's why you bring writers in the first place, right? And at the end of the day, we get better stories. I'd rather be playing in... I'd rather be playing in somebody else's idea, somebody else's imagination of a kingdom, than in the most generic thing they could come up with this month. What are they going to do? Start buying into movie titles again? Are we just going to see coin up after coin up of some movie that seems to be doing well, or it happens to be this summer's blockbuster? Sorry, no thanks.
well,
Yeah, but I mean, take
No.
BioWare, for example, like a company that's specifically known for making great story. Why are they wasting like money and time on a multiplayer aspect that people aren't gonna like play the game for that? It's not gonna happen.
Why are there so many games out there that are assuming people are going to put so many hours into there? The casual market's obviously still thriving. Is it really that big a market? Are people really throwing that much money at games they simply aren't going to be able to play that much?
I think that's the thing. People have Call of Duty, they have League of Legends, they have Overwatch. There's Battlefield as well. Like, there's some big players already who have multiplayer cornered, and you can come out with something new, like Overwatch did. It's like,
That's
we're kind of part MOBA, part shooter, right?
That's-
And they're all
a
by
good
Blizzard.
idea.
But they're talking about tagging on
Well.
a campaign mode for that. I
Yeah.
heard somewhere,
Lovely jubbly.
which I think that's a brilliant idea.
well,
Makes me want to take a second look at it.
they're not the first company to do that. If you look at Titanfall 2, that was a multiplayer game, and they've put a story mode in it. Okay, it's not the longest story in the world, but I thoroughly enjoyed playing it, and I'm really hoping that it does well, and that they look at it and go, well, we've got multiplayer down. The first game was all multiplayer. The second game, we tweaked it and added story mode. The third game, I'd like to see more story mode, because they've got the multiplayer sorted. All they've got to do is just balance it now for the new Titans that they put in, and the new mechanics and all this. More stories for that game, definitely. I would love to see more story on that. But it's a multiplayer game that's gone over to story mode.
Which is a nice change.
And like you're saying, it looks like Overwatch might be doing that as well.
But yeah, no, speaking of just moving away from story, I looked at my Steam queue recently, and there were, 10 games to look through in there? And out of the 10 games, the majority of
12.
them were all, this is a sandbox survival game, etc., etc. It's like, oh, how have you decided I want to look at all these games? And,
Have you purchased any?
Did you buy 7 Days to Die?
No, I've not bought that yet. Terraria?
There you
Yes, that'll go for it because it's a sandbox game.
Minecraft? No, the Minecraft doesn't go through
But
Steam.
I've got Civ in there as well, so where are my strategy games?
Have you gone looking for them much?
A little.
Have you added them? Have you added a few to your wish list? Because that's what builds up
dead
the
lazy.
algorithm for you. You see, this is why I go through my queues a lot. This is where I get my research from most of the time. Just as find half the stuff. It just go through a few Steam queues, like maybe one a day, and I find, as soon as something like Mechazoo turns up, which it just did, you spot these things and go like, all right, okay, fine. Owlboy, that's turning up, and Silence by Daedalic Games, and that looks really nice. That looks very pretty. Yes. Very story orientated as well, so
Good.
that's a thing that kind of caught my eye because it advertised itself as something of a dark fantasy, sort of a point and click. So, okay, and it's Daedalic Entertainment. So, yeah, you caught my interest right there. I love just seeing what these guys come out with. Steady engines as well. Love it.
But yeah, there does seem to be a plethora of games that are just moving away from story. Have we all moved away from it?
No, never.
No.
We can't. Otherwise, how the hell are you going to sell your game?
Yeah,
Come on. Why do you think we
what's
buy
the point of the game?
Fallout 4? Yeah, I mean, I buy Fallout 4 because the vaults, the story, there's so many stories, the sub-quests, everything else that's going on in there. It's massive. It's a sandbox game, yes, but it's chock full of content. The DLC makes it even bigger. I mean, the size of the game is amazing.
Yeah, but
It's
you know
perfect
why? You know why it is that companies moving away from story. I mean, let's
a
look
lot
at
of
it
work.
logically. Yeah, I mean, you make a game like The Witcher 3, a BioWare game, a Bethesda game. They must spend like 5 or 6 years like building that, and you look at a game like Battlefield, the Star Wars one, Battlefront. Like
You can
they
churn
probably
them
spent
out
a
every
year
year.
working on that.
Uh,
Well, they're going to, aren't they? There's
Yes,
going to be a second
well,
one.
I
Like,
think I've heard a rumour somewhere that Battlefront 2 may have a campaign mode coming as well, or story mode.
mm,
So again, another multiplayer switching to a story.
Campaign, yeah. Because let's be honest, it's easier to actually test engines in there. It means that they get better FPSs because you're not having to render quite as far.
And
You've
quite
got
as
a
many
very
people
controlled environment. It means you get really, really good, really fluid gameplay
I mean,
because the machine doesn't have to process nearly as hard.
a Battlefront. I would love to see a Battlefront story mode.
Did they not release a story mode at all for Battlefront?
No, it's basically a shooter / flight sim, all in one kind of thing. But it's
Just
multiplayer.
Multiplayer.
There is
I
a
don't
local
know.
co-op for, I think it's 2 people, or there is a co-op mode, but it's little mini missions. So it's not quite what you're looking for
No.
in a co-op Star Wars based
I mean-
game. I mean, I'd love to play a Star Wars based game.
I'd love to play a Battlefront game like the old one, where you actually could get inside a ship that you saw. Like, I just cannot, like,
The hero
there's just
tokens.
no way they could persuade me to buy it, right? Because there's hardly any maps, you have to pay loads of money for more maps. You have to pick up tokens to get in a ship,
Yeah,
which I don't understand.
well,
like,
it's-
it's like,
I
Have we
understand
gone
how
back
it
many
works,
years?
because effectively when you get in the ship, you actually go up. I think you join into one of the flight mode games.
but it's really lame.
Unless,
Like-
of course, what
We're
they're
better
basically
than
saying
this.
is,
We
well,
are
no, maybe what they're trying to say is, no, we're aiming towards games like, classic retro games like Turrican or Strider. Maybe they want to just give you quick action, slice them up, kind of bollocks without an actual story. Your new hero, just give them a cool sounding name and some funky moves and Metrozoid their way through everything.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then you
I mean,
have
I mean-
Maybe
gameplay to
that's what
back
they're
it up.
aiming at.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that's really not a big deal, because if they're going to be saving so much on their writers, they can put it into their development, surely.
Well, I mean, let's look at it financially. I mean, you can make a lot of money. Like Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront made loads of money, even though it got a lot of like more hardcore, die-hard fans complaining about the game. It made loads and loads of money because it's Star Wars and The Force Awakens was coming out. What else is going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, There's only a few companies that are like, look, we can make our bread and butter from like spending loads of money and making story, but I mean, look at the risk that companies like BioWare, I suppose EA actually, but like BioWare is doing something that will cost a hell of a lot more money than like Battlefront.
5 minutes remaining, gents.
Right.
So let's just we just got a couple more things to talk about. So we've got like I don't know, Ezio Collection for Assassin's Creed. Like that's kind of a HD remaster. Anyone interested in it?
Not even remotely.
I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed 2. I thought that was an awesome game. But do I want to go back and have to find all the little things again? In a slightly prettier environment? Maybe not.
I'd potentially give it a go. I just don't know if I've just got other stuff I'd rather be doing.
Yeah, there are new
I've got
games
enough
coming
time.
out. Why do I want to play an old one?
If I was unemployed, like
Oh, because you want to buy a NES Classic, surely. You want to waste your fucking life on that for 120 quid? Fuck it, no, 50 quid. I wouldn't pay 50 quid to play that.
No, but
crap.
it's a collector's item, isn't it? I mean, want to go
yeah,
back.
people are talking about
Nostalgia-tastic.
playing Ezio again, please.
Yeah, but that's not that old.
It
No,
doesn't
I
matter.
meant the NES. Sorry, I meant the NES as a collector's item. I thought it was a bit of an unfair comparison because, like, it's got a massive nostalgia thing
Yeah.
for people.
Oh no, what if they're talking about reboots?
What do you mean?
No, never mind. Just leave that thought away. No, put it away. Hang on.
I suppose I'll just reel off a couple of other stuff as well. So Pokemon, like, there's a few games coming out. There's Pokemon Sun and Moon very soon. Walking Dead Season 3. Which could be really cool, like the first one, so I'm pretty sure Spindles will be recording that for a Let's Play. Then there's a couple of others that Ferg and Dead have got to talk about briefly.
Well, I mentioned Silence by Daedalic. I think I've covered that one. But there's Grim by Dark Legacy. Grim Dark Legacy, and it's based upon the Grim TV show. So if anybody's actually into those kind of things, give that one a shot.
But
That could be an interesting.
Kind of a Diablo clone for the game.
Yeah, it's got a Diablo-esque look to it. Top-down action beat 'em. Essentially, the storyline being that you play one of Nick's ancestors as he deals with the sort of more medieval Vesson storyline. So yeah, but it's all canon apparently. This is going to be official storyline,
Right.
So enjoy. It's got the Grim logo all over it.
No wonder the Grims are so feared in the storyline then. If one of Nick's ancestors just went through absolutely
think this
wailing
is-
on hundreds and hundreds of Vesson for like 20 hours or however long the game's going to be.
Well, in which case, is Nick really kind of up to task on this? Actually, yeah, he's kind of gone. He's sort of nailed a lot of them. Actually, yeah, the series he does kind of go through a shit ton of bad guys,
He does
and most of
work
them,
his way through them,
yeah.
but
Not that I
Right.
watched the show. Going on.
And then we've got Dad's wanted to talk a bit about new Lego packs.
Yeah,
I think.
the next wave of Lego packs is out, which I'm looking forward to getting hold of. You've got E.T., the other ones are Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them story pack, so 6-level film, basically, in Lego style. Then you've got Gremlins and another fun pack character from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Cool. And then
Oh, and the Sonic pack, Sonic the Hedgehog pack as well. I forgot about that one.
that's pretty old school.
Yeah, they have a habit of going. They seem to be going through old games as well, with
Yeah.
in each year. So they did the Midway Arcade in the first season.
Now I'm gonna just very quickly, very briefly talk about World of Final Fantasy because I actually had a bit more time to play it.
In which case, just to point out, bong, but go for it.
It's not done that badly actually, and I don't know. My view on World of Final Fantasy is very much an acquired taste. Um,
Right.
a lot of people get really pissed off with it actually because there's some really annoying. There's a very annoying character in it who, for some reason, has to put "the" in front of various words nearly every single sentence, which is a bit. You kind of want to throw yourself out a window after hearing it a few times. But I actually quite liked the gameplay, and I kind of quite liked the story. It's just it's for. You can tell it's a little bit
It's for the
immature.
fans.
It's for the fans and it's for a younger audience as well because I think it's trying to get kids into Final Fantasy, younger kids. It's a different slant on it. It's still it's good. It's actually quite complicated actually, but it's just explained and tutorialized very well and stuff, and it seems quite fun actually. But again, it is certainly a JRPG. Like it's a JRPG. A lot more probably than Final Fantasy 15 will be.
Right.
Okay.
And is that everything? I think that probably.
Yeah.
I think that covers most of the.
I've
Topics in the
covered
news.
the Fallout 4
Coming out.
DLC.
So should we jump on to? Well, we've got a couple of discussions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I suppose the big one is Steep had an open beta. I haven't actually had a chance to have a look at this. This came out on Steam very recently,
Yeah.
and it'll be over by the time people hear this. So what does Ferg and Rammy think about it? Because you guys have actually played it, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to start, Ferg?
Right. My catch is that unfortunately all I've been able to do is play for about an hour and a half on a friend's machine, and we encountered a problem, which was that about every 5 minutes into any active game time, it would just crash straight to desktop, no error codes or anything. And but this is an open online beta.
Yes, but it's an
simply
open
accept
online
that.
beta for a game that's coming out on the 2nd of December.
And it's an entirely. This is obviously just something that's going to be turning up. What I did play, though, I kind of liked, but I'm having a bit of a fun time with physics and jumping.
Yeah.
I'm
just couldn't get my head around the jumping.
Yeah.
And it didn't give me any kind of tutorial. Oh, if you want to pull a cool flip in the air, kind of jump off, just do this. Nah.
I'm just
Doesn't-
going to say, should we actually explain what Steep is? Because
We probably
you're probably
should.
not making a lot of sense.
Yes. Steep is a first person, first to third person downhill skiing,
Skiing,
snowboarding, and wingsuit. You can jump between any of the three sports fairly easily, and including parachuting, I might also add, because
You've got
you
to
can.
land after you've wingsuited.
Yeah, and you need to drop your chute. But also, if you can get a fair bit of height with your wingsuit over a valley, you can drop your chute and then just glide to wherever you want from one large peak to another, and it's actually quite pretty. The only problem was it kept crashing every few minutes, so I was trying to get some serious uphill and then down to get some proper leverage to be able to swing through mountains, but it just kept on burning me.
Well,
I probably should have actually looked at some of the actual quests, but I wanted to test the sandbox, see if it actually was.
well, I was playing it on the Xbox One, and I didn't have any problems with any crashes at all. The mountain itself is absolutely gorgeous, and
It is beautiful.
it looks like they've probably given you maybe one mountain or a couple of base camps to go out in the demo. But it strikes me that it would be a lot of fun if there's you and three of your mates all racing around this mountain together, like finding the best paths. But I did struggle with the controls, certainly for the snowboarding. It gives you little information on how to actually control the thing, other than just point down the hill, and that's about it.
I was
one of the most
expecting more
fun things I
speed.
actually did though was in the wingsuit, and that's
Yes.
because you can switch to the wingsuit at any time. So if you're just randomly nothing to jump off and in the wingsuit, put it on, you can face plant in the snow. Absolutely epic. And do basically a little snow angel there as you've planted in the snow. It's like, oh, I'm just going to jump off this mountain. Oh, I'm flapping around like a fish on the floor. Brilliant. That
Was that all you did when you played it, Rammy?
Maybe not what they've gone for. But yeah, that's the most
I'm
fun
going
I
to test
had.
that.
Snow Angel Simulator.
Yeah, Snow Angel Simulator.
It's got alliteration. I quite like that.
But I could see how it would be fun getting a few of your mates on. But certainly on the
Snow Angels.
Xbox One, it's $54.99. Now that's a lot of money, and I don't know whether it's.
It's a lot of money to make Snow Angels.
Worth of fun.
Yes.
Especially considering how many other titles are coming out.
Do you think they're rushing it for Christmas?
Yes. Probably.
I can't disagree.
It's bad, that.
I think if they don't get it out before Christmas, people maybe won't buy it in the new year.
Yeah.
The
I don't know why they don't just spend another year on it and make sure it's good.
The one thing that really kind of caught me from the word go was the idea is that this is beautiful, pristine slope.
Yeah. And it was.
And it's supposed to be, but the catch is, when you're moving through the snow, I don't know, it just didn't look right at all.
Did you try
If you
doing
just
a Snow
if you
Angel
move
version?
slowly.
That was spot on.
All right, I'll give it a shot, but I wasn't sure about, the way the snow was. I was expecting more spray if I was turning. Maybe I'm just being, no, I don't know what it was.
I mean, the main complaint I've heard is that the controls just feel clunky.
Yeah.
Which is not what you want in a game that's solely about gameplay.
As I say,
The
I've tried
the
every
whole
which
physics
way I
feels
could
a bit
to get this
odd.
jump to work, to do something that looked a little spectacular, but every time all that happened was I lost all my speed and ended up like maybe doing a tiny little bunny hop. And
Yeah.
once he accidentally did a backflip and then lost all his speed, and again it's like, well that's no good. I'm not racing down the mountain seeing all kinds of cool stuff.
I was trying to. I kept, mind you, trees. Trees are a problem.
Yeah, they
reduce my speed dramatically.
I think that's because you meant to miss, like, crashing into them somehow.
I managed to not miss most of the trees on the way down the hill.
Yes, same here. Oh, also in the wingsuit, those pylons. Jesus, they look painful.
Hey, it does feel awesome, however, when you fly right between a couple of the struts and then carry on down.
Oh yeah, but at that point I
was
wet
wicked.
myself laughing because I probably planted my face into it about 70 miles per hour 3 or 4 times already. And every time you go down like that, it's got, you never actually die. I don't think it's like you are going to hospital, mate, and then you respawn nearly instantaneously. And it's just like, I should really watch myself on that. It felt very painful. Just some of the offhand comments you hear the guys say, it's just, I think there's a couple snuck in there just to be a little bit kind of warped. I kind of like that.
But yeah, it looks like there'll be plenty of content for, well, I guess people that like winter sports and adrenaline. But at the moment, the controls did feel clunky and
Yep.
not overly fun.
It's essentially GTA Online with
Skiing.
With skiing.
No, with skiing. That's essentially what this is. Oh, no, you know what? It's not GTA Online. Sorry,
Just
because
Cause.
that's got violence in it. This one, on the other hand, is more like
This has Snow Angels.
Burnout, Paradise, Paradise City. In the snow. instead of in a car.
Yeah, it
Yes.
all looks gorgeous.
That's exactly
but
what this is.
I don't know. I just don't know whether it's worth all that money.
I'm not convinced yet. I'm going to have a little bit further look through the beta online to see if any particular updates come up. But if this is all we're going to see, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced I want to hit this.
No. And
But in that case, I'm really glad that I got to have a look at this beta online before actually paying money.
Yeah, because I might have been tempted if I hadn't looked into it.
Have they done the beta on the PS4 as well, Steph?
I don't know. I just haven't had the time this weekend, and I'm not. I was quite hyped to the idea of it originally, but then I already had the impression that, like, it's interesting that they've only just released news on this and it's Christmas soon, and like it just started making me feel a bit like this could be quite like a money grab.
Yeah, it does.
And
feel
it is
a bit like
Ubisoft.
That.
They often like kind of a lot of sort of image and hype, but not much substance to their games. Like overall, I know that sounds pretty harsh. But I can't think of a Ubisoft game that I've really, really, really enjoyed. I can't think of a single one.
The weirdest thing is Ubisoft has had a very big year because they've had The Division, they've had Rainbow Six Siege, they've had, they've had all of this. What a year Ubisoft has had for releases.
Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, this has been a massive year for them. They've rolled something out in every quarter, maybe 1 to 2 items in every quarter. And all of them have been officially AAA titles.
And just to actually touch on...
And all of them have disappointed.
Because you mentioned that, we should have really said it in the news. The 1.4 patch, Survival, for The Division is coming out on the 22nd of November. Which I do want to try and find time and get back to that and have a look at it.
See, I don't care either. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a it's kind of old news. The Division. Like, I don't think anyone's really like. There can't be that many people that are
I'd have to check Steam. I'd have to check the Steam numbers on that. But I'm so not bothered. I'm not going back to it. I actually feel like I've wasted my money now. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't just blame the hackers on that one. The hackers did some significant damage, but they're not solely to blame for what the Division actually made. I just felt like it was just hey, listen, just run around, shoot everything in third person. Here's actually a remarkably bland mechanic. An entirely worthless experience system.
Well, I've got to say, they have just released a patch with World Tiers, and though I've not played it myself, I've just not had time. One of my friends has, and he has said it's just completely changed the game and made it a lot more fun again.
But how many people are going to go back to it? Like, hasn't it already suffered? Like, it's kind of like it should have got this right ages ago.
Essentially, they're hoping that they can recover in the same way that sorry, power of speech failing. They're hoping that it's going to be able to recover the same way they would, like a good DLC, and that'll be it. That's what's going to change it. But the premise of the game sucked.
Well, it's not just that. It's just that, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, there's only certain companies that can pull it off again. Like, I mean, Blizzard's obviously a big one. They
Ubisoft clearly can't. Then at the moment, they've gone in entirely the wrong direction with absolutely every title.
Yeah, but also I think MMOs are different, aren't they? Because I think like the Division's still fairly like pick up.
It must have people still playing it.
Yeah, but it's not the same as like an MMO. Like an MMO has a lot more triggers to get you addicted to it. Like it's specifically like developed to kind of have little whatever you call them, little points in the game like regularly where it's like, ooh, I've got a notification, I've like sold my gold or my iron ore, or like I don't know,
go
like,
back to WoW then.
Yeah, but
No,
in all
exactly,
honesty,
exactly. But you know, I mean, like the only games company that's really pulled it off, like apart from Blizzard, is Square Enix with Final Fantasy 14
yeah,
online,
14, they
which.
do have a lot of regular subscribers that are still all playing it, and it
But do you
hasn't
know
gone free to
why?
play.
Yeah, but do you know why? Like when they released 14, it was like panned. It was absolutely crap. And perhaps because of some like real Japanese kind of like cultural sense of like honor and embarrassment, they took it offline for a year or two and
Yeah,
like
and fixed
hammered
it.
it, fixed it, like and re-released it,
Yeah,
and it was really good. But it's like not many companies are willing to do that
no.
to that level. Like I mean, that is an unbelievable story actually to see an MMO that was just absolute trash and panned by people come back like that. I mean, it is
Well,
phenomenal.
actually, if nobody minds, this sounds like a topic for another week. However,
Probably.
well, we've just bong. There you go. So,
Demos.
yeah, we've our second topic, something that we almost touched on during talking about Steep
Yeah.
demos. Where they gone?
I
And
miss
like I
demos.
said, I'm so glad that I actually got round to seeing the online beta of Steep before it was released. Because if I'd paid 50 quid for that, nah, I would be raging.
All we ever seem to see nowadays is beta
Online
tests for the
betas.
for the multiplayer, and not all of us want to play multiplayer.
No.
Yeah, but
You
you know
see,
why that is.
This
You
is
know
the
why that
reason why
is.
early access is working.
I know,
I'm not
but do you know
convinced
why?
It is, because games stay in
Ah,
early access and never get
No,
released.
they're not. They're being released. Actually, what else has just been released into version 1.0 that's been in beta for in early access? Oh, sugar!
Star Citizen. Oh wait, no, they just had their 4th year anniversary and they still haven't fucking released anything
They're a
substantial.
kick.
Yeah, but
Starter.
Steph, you can pay
Enjoy.
£200 for one of the ships
200. Oh well, that's a good deal. Holy shit.
just for a ship.
Maybe I should sign my whole fucking life's earnings away, like for my future earnings.
Well, a question about
Actually, I'm going to quickly bring us back on the topic demos.
Sorry, demos.
So,
Yes.
because otherwise we are going to really miss the point of this one. So, demos. We're basically no longer seeing a demo, and here's the thing. Early access, obviously, we can always see what it is because we've already technically purchased the game and we get the updates. But if you're going to buy a AAA title, let's just throw a few big title names into the air. Like, I don't know, Call of Duty. Or, okay, you're pretty much, you know what you're going to get with that one. But if it's something completely off the hazard, like, I don't know, the next Watch Dogs 2, for instance, or Dishonored 2, for instance.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're going to be like yet. Okay, I kind of know what I'm going to get because I played the first one. But Watch Dogs 2, I played the first Dishonored and I loved it. And I am really looking forward to playing it, damn the lack of money. But you know what? I've been let down by a lot of games this year, especially the AAA titles. Tom Clancy's The Division specifically. And I never got to try the online beta. I missed out there. Utterly. And I'm glad that there's a demo for Steep here because, as I pointed out, I would be miffed.
Well, I think the interesting thing I was going to hit upon a bit earlier about because you just said demo. It's not actually a demo; it's an open beta, and I think the wording's very clever because essentially it is a demo. But the word open beta is used on all these things to make you, as a kind of customer, feel like, oh, I've been included in the process of developing this game, and my opinion really matters. The reality is, like,
only if you play it, only if you are actually active in that community, and that's true of all of the titles, including the early access. You have actually got to get involved.
But I'll tell you what, I also hate
that and buy the game.
Is when essentially they give you a sort of demo, but you have to pre-order and pay for the deluxe edition to play X amount of days early, or get into an early kind of beta.
Early access.
I mean, again, we're touching on early access, aren't we? But
then again, you've already paid your money, so it's too late. The only games I've seen recently that have actually given any kind of demo, so you can play the game, see what it's like, are the Lego games. They tend to have a demo when they're about to come out. The last one was The Force
But
Awakens.
what's the point with that? I mean, it's a Lego game. It will be exactly the same as the last 10 years of Lego games.
Yeah, but they can just show off.
Yeah.
Why not?
Like,
They can
this
do
is why
it.
you love the game. It reminds you, and it's like, oh, actually, yeah,
Here,
I'm
look,
hyped
free
for that now.
stuff. Here, look. If you really like the game, okay, you've played that demo. Do you like it? Yes. Go on, buy the game.
Yeah.
If not, just try the demo again. But we're still going to try and sell it to you. Okay? Fine. As soon as I've got the money, I'll use the demo to actually buy the game. I obviously liked it enough, and it obviously works. It's worked in the past. Why isn't it working now?
Well, do
oh
you
yeah,
think
because
it's
no one's making any.
Yeah, but do you think it's because back when we were all a little bit younger, demos, came in magazines. Most people got gaming news from magazines, and nowadays,
It's all
you
online.
you can and you can kind of watch a lot of videos and games that you never used to be able to. You get a lot more information if you really want to study what the game's about.
Yeah,
what's
but
coming
there's a
out.
difference between watching somebody playing it and playing it
And
yourself.
playing yourself.
Of course, absolutely, of course.
I mean,
but I mean, I'm just trying to look at why has it changed? I
Well,
think
the
that's a big
the
reason.
excuse that it used to be given away on magazines and nobody's buying magazines now, that's not an excuse because everybody's getting their information from the internet. So you put your demo on the internet for a free download on your parent website for your game. It's just
Yeah,
I mean, look.
going to
Even
drive more
than
people
that,
towards their products.
One thing that's changed quite considerably is on the Xbox, on the 360, every single arcade game that released on the 360 had a trial mode, so you could at least have a go. So that's literally all of them. You could have a try and go, oh, actually, yeah, I do want to spend like the 10-15 quid for this arcade style game. Now, the Xbox One has done away with kind of these free, the categorization of this is an Xbox arcade game. You just see plenty of games popping up, oh, this is now out. And it'll just randomly drop into the Xbox store, but there's no longer any of these free trials. The only ones you tend to get it on now are these early access games where you get an hour free so you can have a look. Then if you want to keep playing, pay for the early access. And this is games that aren't ready.
Here's a question for you. If No Man's Sky had actually given everybody a demo, do you think it would have sold any at all?
What? It depends
Yeah.
how long the demo is. If you just played the
Does it
first
matter?
hour, would you have bought it?
The first 6 hours of No Man's Sky were really good,
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
so it would have done fine. Like,
I'm just going to throw that one out there.
no, but
It would.
it would have done. Like, I mean, it would have been the whole game, but like, it would work. Like,
But this is the question. I mean, demos, is that the reason why they died? Because they don't actually give a true depiction of what your gaming experience is. I mean, essentially, you could have the entire content.
I mean, I honestly just think the reason demos died is specifically because you can get information of games online in mass quantities. Like, you can get loads of information on one game that's going to come out in a month's time. You can get absolutely shitloads. There's loads of YouTube videos of people that are playing it. There's like loads and loads and loads and loads of content that you can go look up about a game. Whereas like back in the day where there used to be loads of demos, like that was when you didn't really have like before the internet you had like no other way apart from magazines. When you did start having the internet, a lot of people wouldn't go to these like sites that much. Where there's places like IGN and like other very popular sites are really like visited by a lot of people now. So you can get your information like.
Yeah, but I don't want information. I
Yeah.
want to play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah,
but like
exactly.
they're not necessarily
Okay.
bothered about people our age. They're more interested in like the younger generation, and like all they know is the internet and the way it is. Like it's just the
Okay.
passing of time. Like
Let me throw you a new one then. In which case, why is it? good example. Why are there no demos? No, you know what? Smeg it. No, it doesn't quite work like that. Think of no. Sorry, brain implosion. Ah, shoot! I've lost the plot.
Never mind.
Carry on. Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be good to have demos, but I think
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, some games are doing it. Like, I mean, Final Fantasy 15 had you would get a demo of the game like a couple of years ago when they released Final Fantasy Type 0. It came as like a little additional thing, and they kept updating that, so people saw a bit of change in that demo, and it was a whole area of the game. Then they released a kind of technical demo that everyone could download from the PlayStation Store. They've just released a demo which you can only get in Japan.
That's
With the first sort of
disappointing.
10-15 hours. Well, I mean, that's
Isn't it?
interesting. Why have they thought that you know that they need to release a demo in Japan and not in Europe or America? Now,
Is
I
it
have my own
because-
views on that.
Because that's the only market they'd give a damn about.
Completely wrong.
No, it's because
I
they
totally
need
disagree.
to reassure the Japanese fans that this isn't an American RPG.
Yes, exactly.
Like I said,
100%
it's
agree
the
with
only
that.
market they give a damn about.
Not at all. Not at all, because
Of course it is! Look at it! Otherwise, why wouldn't they check it out with everybody else?
okay,
No.
I think what you don't understand about Final Fantasy 15 is that they have highly tried to westernize Final Fantasy
Yeah.
15 to suit a Western audience. The whole reason that game is open world, the whole reason that a lot of the environments actually have things like American diners in them as locations you can visit, is because they're trying to appeal to a Western market, and that's why the demo is much more important in Japan. As Rammy said, to try and reassure the Japanese that it's still a game that they would be interested in. It's not so westernized that it will alienate them.
Yeah.
I mean, the sales campaign in the West for Final Fantasy 15 has been phenomenal. Like every time I go on
Absolutely massive.
YouTube, yeah, like they've got a film, they've got like all this other stuff. Every time I watch a YouTube video, every single day I get a very short 5-second video of Final Fantasy 15, and then it says X amount of days to go, and it's a new video every day. And every time I go on YouTube, I see that. Like, they're really marketing this shit. Like,
Yeah, they're hammering the West, but so
Yeah.
much so to the point they've had to release a 15-hour game demo to reassure their home audience.
15 hours.
well, I don't know if it's 50. I mean, that I might be wrong on that, but it's quite a big. It's
It's a
it's quite a
sizable
big
demo.
intro. Yeah, like it's a decent one, and I think it's a long game. It's a very long game. Like, it's gonna be a long game, but. And if you really want to play it, you can make a Japanese PSN account and play it. I mean, you won't be able to understand it, perhaps, but
Unless you speak
you
Japanese.
can check out the gameplay. Well, yeah,
It doesn't matter. None of us are seeing the demo.
yeah, but they have released like
Oh,
two
lovely.
previous demos. Like they've already released 2 demos for
Yeah.
the game. Like and they've it's probably the most content ever released for a game before release about the game. There's like, if you go on the internet, there's probably like 30 to 40 hours worth of
Just
um,
playable footage
people
to watch.
playing it and talking about it and what's in it, and like there's so much information on that game. It's unreal. Like, there hasn't been a more honest developer about a game actually probably than Square Enix on this game. This is the most information you'll ever see on a game. Like, it's phenomenal how much they've poured into letting people know what it's about.
Yeah.
You see, this is where I think
Final
tutorials
Fantasy.
need to be the demo.
Final
Sorry.
Fantasy 15 and Lego, the only ones doing demos. Oh, and occasionally a sports game.
Actually,
Yeah.
just as a point, Elite Dangerous, Frontier, and Horizons, etc.
Yeah.
That's got a demo.
Yeah,
You can
1 hour
download
trial
that.
when it was in early access.
I think you've got a bit longer now.
I'm not convinced. Not on the X-Bone anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. I mean, you see it a lot with MMOs that will let you play their game for free, but you have to pay a subscription to get access to everything. Like,
Yeah.
there's like elements of demos, but it is in a very different way. I mean, you know, I mean, I totally agree with you, Ferg. I would like to see the old school demo come back. I would love to be able to like Watch Dogs 2. Like, give me a demo, I'll give it a go. I'll have a look at it. But I'm not spending 50 quid on something
No.
that I think's more of the same shit, and it's not gonna have any story. Like, I don't, and I'm not gonna give a shit about the reviews on it because they hyped up Watch Dogs, the original Watch Dogs, and I paid money for it, and it was crap. And they said the story was interesting and blah blah blah. Like, I can't be
And
bothered
that's
with
why
a
you
lot
should
of
never
reviews.
listen to our believe reviews.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
and
But you know,
always
this
format
is
your
the
own
thing.
opinion, etc., etc. But in order to do that, pay out money. So,
Yeah, it's a bit of a like
vicious circle.
catch-22. I mean, I totally
Yes.
agree about demos. Like, I would like to see them back, but
Yeah, but I mean,
I think
even so much as like the arcade games and stuff, I used to buy a lot of the Xbox arcade games because I'd play the demo and then I'd go and purchase them. But now it's a case of, well, I may have some screenshots to look at, a brief description. Occasionally there's a video trailer, but not even then every time. And it's like, well, why should I invest any money in this? And so I don't.
actually, gentlemen, I hate to say it, but bong. We're going to have to leave that one there. But I just feel like there's so much more to say on that. I can see us maybe
Yeah.
venturing near there again
Revisited.
at a later date. Oh my word! Now we can see this.
I think it's an interesting topic, though. I think, you know, because I hadn't really thought about it until you suggested we have a chat about it.
And suddenly it makes you kind of wonder how demos in a nutshell can actually be revisited. The one thought I'd actually originally had was, why don't they make it just the tutorial and introduce the story at the same time
Yeah.
as a sort of episode?
That's what they used
And if
to
you
do.
like what you see, then you're going to go for the rest of the game. That's why most... Okay, good excuse. Sorry, I'm kind of breaking a rule here. Deus Ex... the Mankind Divided.
Yeah.
If they'd actually introduced the demo as being the part where you're actually all fully powered up at the beginning of the game as a demo to absolutely everybody, with a sniff of what actually goes on in the multiplayer, like the online beta is going on with Steep, then maybe, just maybe, they could have capitalized on everybody knowing precisely what they bought.
Mm.
And I don't think that would have hurt a game like that, because it was a solid... Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I realised that there were microtransactions involved in that game. So what? I didn't buy any. If you had, more fool you. So be it. And that's kind of all I had to really say on the matter. But demos, seriously, cool idea. We can make something with them.
And on that note,
yes.
We should wrap
we will
up.
see you in the near future.
Yes.
Well, thank you for listening.
Yes.
It's been the Wonky Gamer. Au revoir.
Be excellent to each other.
Some sauce yourselves to death.
Take care. Have fun.